What's up guys, and welcome to Ívar's Fly Workshop. Today we will be tying a really simple woolly bugger, and I'm gonna be tying that woolly bugger in olive color, and I'll be tying it in the version that has worked the best for me personally, where I'm fishing brown trout, like a local brown trout. And with this fly, as you know, you can be tying it in many different colors, from pink, white, black, just name it. And you can put hot spots in it and just kind of play around with the pattern. But I'll be tying it in the version that has worked the best for me the past 2 decades or so, which I've been fly fishing for brown trout, local brown trout here in Iceland. So let's give it a shot. So we got our hook in the vise. I have classic waxed 8/0 Semperfli thread here, and we have an Ahrex NS 118, the classic streamer in the vise. As we already know, we are going to be tying a woolly bugger. It's like my version of it and how I tie the woolly bugger. First, I'm going to place like a 0.7 mil lead-free wire to make the fly heavier. And of course, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and all that, support the channel. And of course, you will find the information about the fly, the pattern, the whole thing in the video's description. First, I'm going to place like a little drop of sapagap on the front of it. I'm going to push the bead on the front to the sapagap, and we'll be taking with the wire like about 10, somewhere around 10, 12 touching wraps with the lead-free wire. Either helicopter the wire off or cut away with your bad scissors, like this one. Then you have to push the wire forward to stabilize a bead. It helps to stabilize a bead, but the wire has to be wrapped pretty tightly around the hook shank. That means it sometimes takes a little time to adjust that with your fingernails. It's good to have some fingernails there, so you can be ready to do your work with the thread. I'm using this 8/0 classic waxed olive green, medium olive green from Semperfli. And we'll start it there and do like a little thread base in front of the junction. And it's like a rule of thumb to keep the lead-free wire wraps until about the middle of the hook. I went like a couple of wraps too far. I do not reckon it's gonna be any big problem. Then we'll take our thread and wrap that over the lead-free wire, simply to secure it in place, and we'll end with the thread back there where we began. For the tail of the fly, I'm using an olive marabou strung for it, so the strung feathers are like a little bit shorter than the plumes, and pay attention to one thing is that we may have to pinch off some of the longer fibers or the thinner fibers, like this. So we pinch them together and then can hold them tight and rip off just the longer fibers. It's gonna make the tail, from my opinion, I like the tail more like this. I do not do this in all my videos, but particularly for flies that have like a marabou tail. I will suggest that you'll do this as well. So the length of the tail, that is about like this, like the hook length or about the hook shank length. And when you wet the marabou, just like this, with a little piece of saliva, it makes it all way easier to work with. So you can measure it in and then tie it in at the spot where we want it to sit, and then snip off this rest of the marabou, and you see these tiny thin fibers. You can pinch some off if you like. The woolly bugger itself is an absolutely excellent pattern for browntrout. For the body of the fly, I'm using this olive and black ribbed chenille, which I found somewhere way back. This is the rest of it I have. I tied like bunch of those. I have one box with only olive and black woolly buggers in it. So I have, I would say, quite a great faith in this pattern. And I strip a little bit off the chenille just to get the core of it to be able to tie that in. And for the flash, for the tail, I'm using a gold flashabou in holo tinsel, so it's a holographic gold. You can pick like just silver will do it as well. Pink maybe. I think pink goes with everything, and pearl, of course. Pearl goes with everything. So I'm taking 2 strands of them and folding them together like this, cutting them into pieces, and then I'm gonna measure about the length of it. So we tie in with a few wraps here, so it's about aligned with the tail of the fly. Then we take this part of it and take it over and lay it on the other side. So there is no way they are going to slip away at that point. So you can do a lot of stuff with the woolly buggers. For this woolly bugger, I am going to add like a wire to the body, simply to reinforce the body of the fly, and you'll see when that comes in, and it's a 0.3 mil copper wire from Semperfli. You can use green wire, silver wire, black, just any kind of wire. You could also use like a leader or a tippet for this job. It'll do pretty much the same thing. It's only to secure the palmering feather later on the fly. So we get the thread towards the bead. Then we'll do touching wraps forward all the way to the bead, and then you'll secure this down, lock it in place with our thread with few tight wraps, and then I'm gonna trim away the rest of the chenille, and I push the thread away with my index finger on the left hand, simply to not cutting the thread at this point of the fly. So for the palmering of the fly, I'm using from Whiting something called bugger pack feathers from Whiting, and they are in olive color as well. You just pinch one out, and what's handy with those packages from Whiting is that you get like 4 or 5 pieces of feathers in it. So
You can get like different widths and sizes all in a pack for like 20 or 25 bucks. So it's like a really convenient material and easy to work with. Now I'm gonna strip off this part of the feather, cut the stem here, create like a little brush, which makes it so easier to tie in the feather. Make the brush like this, so the brush is like a couple of millimeters, 2 or 3 millimeters long, and then we'll trim it off like this. So with this brush, you can easily tie any feather in when you're fly tying. So shiny side of the feather up and forward, as always, and then we'll just grab it with our thread here, and we'll wrap that in like a few times, really tight wraps, and then we'll start wrapping like 2 or 3 turns on the head to get some color, and then we will wrap the feather backwards. And what is waiting for us in the back, that is the copper wire. I'm going to use hackle pliers for it. It's going to make it a little bit easier for me. I know it's not a perfect bugger. You can also use like feather with longer fibers if you prefer, so to get more motion in the water, even some slappen or some feathers. It's up to you guys what you prefer. And then I'm coming in with the thread. So I'm grabbing the feather with the thread, hold tension on the thread at all time, and then we wiggle the thread, the wire, through the fibers of the feather. So to try not to trap down any fibers. It sometimes happens, but you can go through with a needle and pick out the fibers that get trapped in. But I'm pretty satisfied with this job here. And we'll catch a wire with our thread, and do like a few tight wraps on it. And after that, I'm gonna take more tight wraps here, hold the fibers backwards to try to get them to lean backwards a little bit, and then we are going to helicopter off the wire like so. Technically the woolly bugger is ready at this point. It's like a personal preference is how long you keep the fibers on the wrapping or the palmering fibers of it. I'm satisfied with this. It has done a great job for me. Tight like this, even with shorter fibers. It all depends on how much you wanted to, if you wanted to swim straight or not. You can also tie like a naked woolly bugger with no palmering, and they work great too. It's just matter of personal preferences in that case. The only thing we have left on the fly is to place like a little sapper gap on the knot and on the thread, so to make sure it's not going anywhere. I just want to say to you guys, thanks for watching. Great greetings from Spain, sunny old Spain. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and all that. And support the channel if you like the content. And I will see you guys in the next video.